Hello, and welcome back to the Late Night Double Feature Picture Show. It's been quite some time since I posted a video to the channel. Various reasons for that, none of which I'll go into. But it is my hope that moving forward in the near future we'll be back to posting some videos. So today I wanted to come on and discuss a film I watched recently. If you're not a fan of the label Radiance and you're a boutique label lover, Radiance is definitely one you should check out. They've been around for a year plus, 2 years, something along those lines, and they've done a really great job with their output. So very recently they put out a super deluxe edition of Mario Bava's Planet of the Vampires, which I own several copies of, but the new version by Radiance had some new outstanding special features and an updated transfer. So I went ahead and I made that purchase, but at the same time, I had heard about the film that I'm going to talk to you about today, which is not Planet of the Vampires. It's an Argentinian film, which I had heard, knew nothing about. It's a fairly recent film, I think 2022, something like that. So somebody online had been talking about this, and I decided at the time I was ordering Planet of the Vampires to also order this. They were both pre-orders, so I was going to have to wait a while to receive them. So anyway, the film in question, and pardon my horrible pronunciation, is Trenque, Lauquen. I'm pretty sure I butchered that title. As I said, it's an Argentinian film, and I went in really cold. I mean, literally, other than the fact that it was a film by an Argentinian director filmed outside of Buenos Aires, I knew nothing about the movie. So when I put the film in, I was a little surprised to see that on the menu option, I was given the option of loading, watching either the entire film or the film broken up into part 1 and part 2. So that surprised me a little bit. I was like, part 1 and part 2, is this a really long movie? So for whatever reason, I just chose to watch part 1. And when the film loaded and started to play, I just hit my remote just to see the length of the film, and it was 2 hours and 14 minutes. I thought to myself, oh, that's odd. Well, why does a 2 hour and 14 minute film need to be broken up into parts? So anyway, film starts, and I won't give away too much about the film because at its heart, it's a mystery. It's also a bit of a love story. The film kind of moves you back and forth in time. It's not completely linear. Sometimes you're in the present with the characters, and at other times you're seeing events that occurred in the past. So, but the basics of the story are these. There's a woman scientist, botanist, who has been assigned to this town, this Trenque, Lauquen, which again I'm butchering, which I believe translates into Round Lake. She's been sent to this town, and she is categorizing plants in the area. And there's a gentleman who helps her in the sense that he will drive her from location to location as she's looking for certain plants that are part of this project. So that's why she's there, and there's this gentleman there who's helping her by driving her around, and they've developed a bit of a friendship as they've worked together. So, but there's a secondary story in that while she's there, there's a local radio station, and she's a regular guest on the local radio station to talk about subjects that aren't necessarily related to botany. It could be related to anything. And the special features kind of give you a little bit of insight into why this is part of the film. In towns like this in South America, there are radio stations that are almost like open forum radio stations, and they will have like local people be guests on shows and talk about, you know, different subjects. So this botanist, who will sometimes be on these radio shows, will frequently go to the library in town to look for topics to discuss when she's on the air, on the radio. So this is where the mystery comes in. She starts to realize that there seems to be some coded messaging between two people going way back, like 100 years or more. So the books that she's taking out show this kind of secret communication between what seems to have been a married man and this woman. So she devises a way to figure out what books they might have been utilizing to message each other. And eventually she finds all of these letters hidden in the books in different particular ways. So the mystery, and she shares this with the guy who drives her around to do her botany stuff. The mystery is kind of this woman. The man was of Italian descent, was married, clearly was carrying on an affair with this woman. At some point, he's back in Italy. The woman has remained in South America, but there is still this correspondence between them. And but you discover that this woman from 100 years ago at some point stops communicating with the Italian gentleman who she had been having the affair with and has kind of disappeared. Subsequently, in real time, in the present day in this film, this botanist, again, remember the film jumps back and forth in time, has also gone missing. So there's a little bit of a mirroring between the events of the past and this woman who's a bit of a mystery who's gone missing, and the present and this woman who's gone missing. And so the gentleman who had been driving her around is aware of the mystery of the letters. This woman, the botanist, her boyfriend shows up because she has gone missing. And the two of them together are driving around trying to find out where this woman is. So I won't say too much more about this part one. The only other thing I'll say is, like, right in the middle of the film, there's this discussion about this odd thing that happens in the lake. And there's this creature, person, thing discovered. And there's like a whole hubbub in the town about what this discovery was. Is it a person? Is it alive? Is it dead? Is it human? Is it not human? And it only takes up a brief little section of like maybe 5 or 10 minutes in the middle of this film. The rest of the film kind of focuses on this missing botanist and the mystery of this relationship from 100 years ago. So, so the film ends 2 hours and 14 minutes, and it doesn't, not all the mysteries, either from the past or from the present, are answered. As a matter of fact, very few of the mysteries are answered. So if you're somebody who likes a mystery film to be all tidied up and with a bow at the end and all the riddles answered, then this movie's probably not for you. I don't mind ambiguity. So, so 2 hour, 14 minute mystery, love story. I enjoyed it. When I was done, I thought, oh, let me click on part two. So I click on part two, and the movie starts, and I see that it's 2 hours and 18 minutes. And I was thinking, oh, maybe this is just that same movie with 4 additional minutes added, right? Maybe there's like the 4 additional minutes, maybe answer a mystery or two. But no, it turns out that this is literally a part two. It's a 2 hour and 18 minute movie that kind of picks up from where the first part ends and launches into a bit of continuing to try and figure out the mystery of the missing botanist. The whole love story from the past is kind of done. That's not part of part two. So the boyfriend from the first part who was here looking for his girlfriend botanist is not really in part two. So the second part kind of takes up where the first part left off, but the focus of this second film is mostly around, remember that little 5-10 minute segment where I talked about in the middle of the first part, where they were talking about this creature, human, not human, alive, dead, came out of the lake, what is it? The mystery of the second part of the film switches from the romance from 100 years ago to this, whatever this mystery is. So the second part almost becomes a sci-fi film. So there's still the issue of this missing botanist. We do get to see some stuff from her perspective that was not included in the first part of the film. But we get to see a lot more about this mystery that occurred in the lake. Once again, when this film ends, 2 hours and 18 minutes, not all mysteries, some of the mysteries from the first part of the film have been resolved, not all. And then new mysteries are brought up during the second part of the film. Again, not completely resolved. And the end of this film is rather ambiguous. So again, if you're somebody who really likes to have all your answers at the end of a mystery movie, not for you. But can't recommend this enough. A bit of an oddball film because it's in 2 parts. I mean, technically you could watch it all as one 4.5 hour movie. I would recommend watching it as 2 parts because it really is almost 2 separate movies. So if you're somebody who likes foreign films, who likes a film with a bit of mystery, a bit of romance in it, maybe not all things answered for you at the end. If that seems like something that you might enjoy, I would highly recommend this. It's well written, very well acted. The special features on the disc are very good. You get some insights into, this film took nearly 6 years to make, and there were reasons for that. So once again, I'm butchering this, Trenque, Lauquen, from Radiance Films. Really recommend it if it sounds interesting to you at all, if my description of the film sounds interesting to you at all. So with that, I would say thank you for joining me once again at the Late Night Double Feature Picture Show. And until next time, be good.